Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Believe in Bengal podcast. Yours truly, Solomon Wilcox. And right now, we're joined by a very special guest, Cincinnati Bengals Network radio host Wayne Box Miller. Box, how you doing, my friend?
Solly, how are you, man? Thanks for having me on. Appreciate you.
It's been a long time coming, man. I should have had you on here eons ago, but it's certainly a pleasure to have you. I know you've been down at the Bengals practicing since they have begun another training camp. And it's got to be very exciting down there with all the additions on defense and what we could expect with all 11 starters returning on offense. But let's start by just kind of giving me maybe some big picture items, the point
Okay.
of emphasis, or maybe what they're focusing on going into this year's training camp.
Solly, it's funny. One of the things that I thought about when I knew we were going to talk today, and I said, you know, the analogy I think about Pigpen. You remember the Peanuts character, Pigpen always had this dark cloud kind of following him wherever he goes. Well, the Bengals seem to have this ray of sunshine right now, following
It's
wherever they
good.
go. I
It's
mean,
good.
everybody's optimistic, everybody's happy, everybody
Hmm.
believes in this team, and it's just you just feel it, man. I mean, it's just interesting, and I think
Hmm.
this camp has proven that very spirited. I think the thing, like for me, because I've been around you and ET and so many other former players, I look at little things, intangibles, man. What do you see that kind of gives you indication that there's camaraderie, that there's this cohesiveness? When I look at a Dexter Lawrence talking to a defensive back, or when I see guys communicating well beyond the play, or if I look on the side and there's Brian Cook over here still working on his footwork. Here's a guy that's established, got Super Bowl rings yet. For him, it's still fundamentals. I want to make sure that my movement is good. Well, all of a sudden, Takario Davis. Now, what is he doing? He's over there right next to him. So I think you see that leadership. And when you talk about Dexter Lawrence as a guy that when he walks on the field, or
Oh,
in the
yeah.
locker room, or even in the cafeteria. I mean, he seems to just have this CEO presence, like here comes Dexter Lawrence, but yet he's the most humble, down to earth
Yeah.
guy. And he really just wants to get better and wants you to get better. So when you look at that offensively, I mean, Joe Burrow is Joe Burrow. I mean, he's locked and loaded. Chase is already, day one Chase is in that competitive domination form, but the pushback came this year from our frat brother, DJ Turner. I mean, he basically said, I am too. I am
There you go.
he, and scoot over. And so it's been really good, man. But as you know, guys have to push each other in camp to get ready. And I
Hmm.
see a lot of that in this camp. Boy, in my fate, man, let me tell you, he has been a presence. Joe Burrow has tried to run some misdirection, some counters, and guys may run down the line, go chasing, and he's
Yeah.
like, "Nope, I'll be right here when you finish the fake, waiting on you." And Joe had to throw the ball to the ground a couple of
Can't
times.
fool
So
them.
yeah,
Can't
yeah,
fool them.
yeah, you can't
Right?
fool him. So seeing those veterans doing those kind of things, man, helping these young guys and the emergence of, I tell you, Jalen Davis is another guy. They gave him a contract early. He's shown at the end of last year you can count
Hmm.
on him, and took Mike Hilton's place in that slot. He seems to just be getting more and more confidence. And
Yeah.
I just tell you, man, you look at all aspects of this team and you just see growth, including the offensive line. I mean, you think of the last 6 games, I believe, they were ranked 14th with sacks allowed when originally, once the season got going, they were 28th, and then they ended up being 14th over the last 6 games. So marked improvement. I think their chemistry started to show at the end of
Yeah.
last year. So a lot of good things going on.
Wayne, what have you heard from the coaches from Zach Taylor in terms of the areas that they wanted to emphasize and take a look at? We're hearing about Joe Burrow being under center a little bit more, them using shifts and motions maybe a little bit more, what we call eye candy for the defense. What are you hearing about what Zach Taylor's doing? Offense is already good. They're already
Yeah.
explosive. What
Yeah.
more is he doing with that side of the ball that he has used as a point of emphasis?
I think Solly, as you know, with one more year, you can install more. And I think that what they're doing is they've got a guy like Chase, Brown, the running back, and they've got him working out. They started last year, he was working out with the wide receivers.
Hmm.
And so you're getting these guys that work with different positions so that as they try to create more packages and more looks, that these guys have the ability to give you more looks and create more confusion. I think, with Joe getting under center or Chase, doing a lot more things like that, to even with Jamar, doing some, hands offs and things. They did a little bit of that last year, but I
Yeah.
think you're starting to see more wrinkles because everybody's been in Zach's offense and a little bit more. So it's a lot easier just to do those installs. I think for me, I'm excited to see a lot of what they're going to do, maybe with different looks in terms of the number of guys in the backfield or who goes wide, and the return of Eric All. He's been cleared to practice, and I think everybody's excited and hopeful that Eric can stay healthy because this
Yeah.
gives you so much as a tight end, not only as a blocker but a receiver. He's just a really unique guy, but health is always the challenge for him, and we're really hoping he could stay healthy.
Yeah, we're hearing Cincinnati Bengals, while getting Joe Burrow under center, they're going what we call a 20 personnel, where they're using Eric Aldmore as a fullback in the backfield. And the run game with Chase Brown, it has really much improved, at least last year when they were going under center and with running the ball. He was averaging about 5.1 yards per carry. Those numbers declined if they were running out of the shotgun. So you could see why they were leaning more
Right.
into running the football with the quarterback under center and with a viable fullback, tight end slash fullback, because you can still throw the ball with that same personnel grouping. I want to talk to you about Brian Cook. He's a local kid. There's no doubt about it. Cincinnati born and raised, plays his high school football here as well,
Yeah.
played
Yeah.
his collegiate football here, then went over to Kansas City, won a couple of Super Bowls, and now we bring him back home. And look, I was elated when I saw this signing because I knew they were getting someone who had one of the lowest missed tackle rates among the safety population in the National Football League. As you well know, the Cincinnati Bengals rank 31st, nearly dead last in the NFL, with one of the highest missed tackle rates last season. So what do? They go get a safety who they know can get a guy on the ground when it comes to tackling, but he can also cover in space. What have you seen in practice so far?
You saw me smile when you brought that name up, man, because so
Yeah.
many people, and rightfully so, are Dexter Lawrence crazy, big sexy, and the whole nine. And it's what a great acquisition. But Brian Cook's acquisition to me ranks up there as well. I mean, you're talking about a great point you articulated. We were not doing well tackling the football last year, and you bring a guy who's in single digit percentages, him and Kyle Duger, both of these guys, single digit missed tackles.
That's
You
right.
shore up tackling on defense, as you know, you played safety, and all of a sudden, it becomes, stopping third down and forcing them to turn the
Yeah.
ball over, or stopping third down and they're out of field position and can't get a field goal. Where once they break one tackle, two tackles, and now what was third and 13 becomes first and 10, or now we're in field goal position. But Brian Cook yesterday had a pick, and it was classic veteran watching the quarterback, being where you're supposed to be, and then perfectly timing the break. And I kind of laugh because I remember you and Eric Thomas always talking about you can't make the play if you're not first in position. And
That's right.
so Brian
That's right.
Cook was in position, read the play perfectly. It's almost textbook. He breaks on the ball. But again, as I said earlier, man, you could see him talking to the young guys and Jordan Battle and these other kids and giving them pointers, and the instant respect when you walk in with Super Bowl rings,
That's right.
plural, um, and you've had the success that he's had. I thought that signing to me just energized me like nothing else, man,
Mm-hmm.
because, Jesse Bates left, and then you're trying to find that next person. Well, now
Yeah.
you've got the guy. And
Yeah.
you think about, they always said football, like baseball, you want to be strong up the middle. Your interior linemen, your inside
Mm-hmm.
linebackers, your safeties, like right up the middle, like catcher, shortstop, second baseman, center fielder. And
Yeah.
I think that what they have now, their up the middle defense is rock solid.
Yeah, look, he's a really good player. You have to be great on the back end, and there's no doubt he brings with him tremendous amount of success. Really smart, heady play, and then when you're
Yeah.
getting pick sixes off Joe Burrow in practice, everybody knows that you kind of know what you're doing, and so he's paying off, and really, I think boosting the confidence of the defense overall.
Right.
Another force multiplier on the defensive side of the ball, sexy Dex. Dexter Lawrence, tell me what you've seen from him so far in practice, and in what ways is he helping other guys to be better?
Sally, I started to send you this clip of Dexter Lawrence in practice, but I
Mhm.
felt bad because Ted Karras was on the receiving end. But
Yeah,
um, I,
yeah. We gotta take care of
I,
Ted.
the first thing I thought of, I'm gonna give you an old name, Ted Washington. And
Mm,
I'll take you back to the New England Patriots and Ted Washington,
yeah,
where he would just stand guys up and just look around and move them and just kind of decide. He just walks them back like, and it didn't seem
yeah.
like it was the effort was just I'm stronger than you. I'm gonna walk you back here and see what's going on. But I think he's Solly. He's just a guy that understands who he is. And
Yeah,
I did some stat work and I put in stats. I think forced fumbles, sacks, fumble recoveries, one other stat, and I looked at who were the top guys that did that. Aaron Donald, one other person, and Dexter Lawrence of interior
yeah,
alignment. And then
yeah,
you just take those stats and put them in and say, okay, who's the top three guys? And he's that guy. But his presence with the other guys, not just the defensive linemen, these young
mhm,
guys are going to find out that they got another coach right there. He's
yeah.
going to push them. But he and BJ Hill are very close friends. They're godfathers,
Yes,
I believe, to each other's kids.
yes. Hmm.
I thought,
Former teammates in New York.
yes,
Yeah,
the excitement for me was you look to your left or right, and there's your friend. Not just a football player, but a friend. And
yeah,
again, not to overuse the comparison, but I think of how close you and ET are. And when you
hmm,
guys played together, there was ET would always say, when I come back, I'm talking to Solly, and Solly and I are looking this and that.
oh
That's
yeah,
invaluable and
hmm,
intangible that you've got two guys that know each other so
yeah,
much that you can communicate with each other in a way that others can't. But I
yeah,
also saw Dexter talking to offensive linemen, and there was a one day that he was coming on the field and he told Joe Burrow, "Bring it today," and Joe Burrow's like, "Oh, I'm bringing it." So here's a guy that's so confident yet humble. It's not a braggadocious thing. It's
yeah,
just I'm certain of who I am. I'm excited to see what he does for Chris Jenkins and McKinley Jackson and all of these other young men, Miles Murphy. I just think he's going to make them better not only by his presence and the way he goes about his work, but also because he will have the ability as a veteran to look at them and maybe challenge them if need be or encourage them if need be. But he's a presence, man, and I can't wait to see what he does in that interior, which means hopefully the Bengals defense will have a lot more third and long versus third and short, which means that now they can get after it on that big third down play.
yeah. Well, Dex is someone you're gonna have to double team, and BJ Hill's always been good as an interior rusher, run stopper. So I want to know and help me to understand where can we expect because you need multiple pass rushers, you need
Right,
multiple guys who can
right.
get to the quarterback on the edge. So whether it's Miles Murphy, whether it's Cassius Howell, we all know Shamar Stewart is on the mend. Uh, Boye Mafe comes in as a viable option as someone. We need multiple guys. So
Yeah.
give me a little something on all those guys. Tell me and the listeners, what can we expect from our edge rushers this year? Who are the names that we're going to hear very often to help close out some of these games?
Well, you mentioned them all, but I'm gonna give you another name, Jerry Montgomery, the
Okay.
defensive line coach. I think we saw the Miles Murphy everybody hoped we'd see at the end of last season because of Jerry Montgomery and the work he did with him and got him to just play football. And Miles Murphy admitted, he said, I was thinking too much and not playing. And if you look at the tape of him the last few games of the season, this kid was flying around, chasing down players, getting to the quarterback. And so I think that he's going to be a young man, and this is a make or break year for him contract wise. I mean, he's got
Yeah.
to really get after it. I think he will. Boye Mafe, as I said earlier, his discipline is so impressive that, Joe Burrow trying to fool him or the offense running some of these new looks you talked about. And he's, I'm just staying where I belong. This is my
Yeah.
side of the field. I'm going to stay over here. But Cassius Howell is the young man I'm excited to see because
Yeah.
in talking to him, he wants to be great.
Yeah.
He wants to be an impact player. And I'm an older person, and I think this matters to me and people in my age group. When I talked to him and first met him, there was a litany of yes sirs, no sirs. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. What does that tell me football wise? It's a guy that respects life, respects the game, respects people. And if you respect the game,
That's right. That's
then
right.
you know how to prepare for the game. And if veterans are
Hmm.
pouring into you, you know how to receive that. But he seems to have this edge already solid that he wants to get after the quarterback. Unfortunately, Shamar got hurt. He's going to miss some while.
Yeah.
But I was really looking forward, and I am still looking forward to his play and presence on the field because I think that rotation they're going to get after it. And I'm excited to see Cassius. But I'm really, if there's a guy that I would tell you to watch this year, would be Miles Murphy. And I think Jerry Montgomery had a lot to do with that. I
Yeah.
think Miles saying, you know what, skip the brakes, skip the clutch.
Hmm.
Let's just go all out. And he saw what he could do when he just turns himself loose and plays football. And I'm looking forward to that. Again, I think that interior line is going to give them some great rushing
Yeah.
opportunities because they're going to be in a little more third and longs than they were in years past.
So help me out because look, Troy Walter is so good at working with these wide receivers. We know what we're going to get from Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Who are some of the other guys that are turning heads? We seem to always be able to find whether it's an Andre Yoshivash or whether it's a Mitchell Tinsley. We always seem to be able to find this other receiver that comes out of there, and you say, "This guy's good too." And
Yeah.
this guy's good too. It's like, and Troy seems to be able to put that polish on them that makes them play above maybe what we had expected. What are you seeing down there with the wide receiver population?
Colby, Colby Young, kid from
Okay.
Georgia. I
Yeah.
mean, he is lighting it up. Everybody's going ooh ah. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he's gone up to get a couple of 50-50 balls. And I am telling you, when I say that they were contested, I mean, he's got hands on the ball. The defenders got hands on the ball. They're both at the high point. Now,
Yeah.
who comes down with the ball? He comes
Yeah.
down with it every time. He's come down with it. And I'm telling you, the kid, Noah Thomas, is another one. It was another 50-50 ball that he and DJ Ivy went up. And I mean, they both are they're right there. They've got their hands on the ball, and this kid just some kind of way wrangles it to the ground. But
Yeah.
Colby Young has just, man, I am telling you, this kid is showing the promise and potential. There were some hiccups along the way in his
Mm-hmm.
college career, like many of us. I mean, he had some speed bump issues, but
Okay.
he is showing that he wants to be that guy. Story I heard the other day, the rookies are carrying the pads and everything for the veterans, and he had T. Higgins pads and equipment. And the story goes, he not only brought them to his locker, but meticulously put the helmet up and put the practice equipment up. Attention to detail. And I think Troy gets credit for those kind of things because Troy is all about attention to detail. Where you put your foot in the ground, how you put your foot in the ground. And I think of Kendrick Pryor, who keeps trying to find a way to get on this roster, and Mitchell Tinsley, who had the unbelievable game against the Commanders. But this room, man, the competition in this room is incredible. And then you got Andre Yosivash, who, some people thought, oh, maybe he's not ready for prime time. And he and Joe
Oh,
Burrow and all these guys
he
worked
can
out in
play.
the off season, and
Yeah.
he's looking good, man. I mean, but Troy, you watch them. I like to watch their practice, just their unit
Yeah.
practice. And
Mm-hmm.
Troy is constantly teaching, constantly working,
Good
constantly doing the
coach.
little
Good
things and
coach. Yeah.
tricks and techniques. And many people don't know Troy was a wide receiver at Stanford, man,
A
that put
very
up
good
some
one. A
numbers.
very good one now. No,
He put up some
very good
numbers.
one now. He was raised in the game. His father was a really good coach. And, he came up in an environment that taught him the game, and now he's teaching and sharing his
Yeah, and I
secrets
look at
of the
another
trade with
kid from
these
Cincinnati.
guys. Yeah.
Didn't mean to interrupt, but another kid from Cincinnati, Xavier Johnson, who's with the
Mm-hmm.
Houston Texans. He came to the Bengals last year toward the latter part of the year, and he's another kid that shows a lot of promise. He could be on the return side. But you think of those guys, man, and I forgot Charlie Jones, the punt returner. He's returned a couple for touchdowns, but he had been hampered with injuries. And so he's another guy. I mean, that room, it's like you walk in that room, you could go in there blindfolded and just say, give me two wide receivers, and whoever you grab, even if it's not Jason Higgins, you may not
Mm-hmm.
get the superstars, but you're going to get two quality wide receivers out of that room.
All right, let's. You got to tell me about our corners because that I think that has been the primary concern. Eric Thomas and I spoke last week right here on the Believe in Bingo podcast about if we can shore up those positions, then this I think has all the makings of a championship defense. I think our front seven is going to be really good. I'm not worried about the off-ball linebackers because the front seven's so good. That defensive line in front of them are so good. It'll protect the linebackers, but you can't protect corners out on the perimeter.
Right.
Either they're good or they're not. Yeah, you need a great pass rush, but in order to cover, man, no one's gonna come and save you, right?
That's
So
right.
tell me, how DJ Turner, how is Dax Hill looking? Give me more or something on Josh Newton and Jalen Davis,
Yeah.
and how are we looking on the perimeter at the corner position?
I think DJ Turner last year showed that he's ready for prime time.
Yes, he did.
He's
Yeah,
very physical, very aggressive, very competitive, man. I
and
mean,
confident. He's
yes, he's
confident.
confident. He's
Yeah.
starting to evolve as a person too. He started showing more leadership in the locker room when it was time for meetings. He's going around gathering guys. Let's go. Let's get the meetings and everything. And so that maturity is there. But his willingness to take on the best guy on the other team. I mean, whether DK Metcalf or whoever. But I just saw, like you said, the confidence rose, and I think somewhere along the line he said to himself, "I belong here. I can do
Yeah.
this." And he rose to that occasion. Dax Hill has had a good camp, man, some really nice pass breakups, but they signed Jasir Taylor. They brought him as well to bolster up that defensive backfield. And then I said Jalen Davis at slot. I thought Jalen Davis came on strong last year at the very
Mm,
end, made
hmm.
some big plays, some big breakups, and they signed him early in the offseason. I think they show confidence that he's that guy they think he can be. And then making a third round pick with Takario out of Washington. I think that they really addressed the defensive secondary in that respect. I'm excited to see how Dax and DJ work together and Jasir because with the pressure that they're getting or should
Yeah.
get, these guys are going to have the opportunity to make plays if they just do what they need to do because you're going to get what you want up front. As ET always says, the better the pass rush, the better the secondary. And so I'm looking forward to them doing it. But I think that DJ Turner has pushed the contract conversation to the side because a lot of people are talking about what's contract time. He's not worried about that. I think Dax Hill, a lot of people saying, well, is he going to be what we need him to be? I mean, he played safety, he's played corner. I think Dax is comfortable now. Just Sir
Hmm.
Taylor comes in. He's established coming into play. And then Josh Newton is a kid. I think they're expecting more from him this year. I think he's got,
Yeah.
some snaps under his belt. And so now I
Yep.
think it's one of those times, Solly, as you know, the coach turns to you and say, hey, you got enough snaps now. There was a situation at practice yesterday where he and Dejon Anthony, there was a play that was successful on the offensive side of the ball, little collision. Dejon was a little upset. He and Josh were jawing at each other, and I
Mm.
loved it because it was an accountability conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Somebody was supposed to be somewhere they
so
were not.
and then it ended so quickly with both of them saying, hey, let's just keep holding each other accountable. And for me, man, I love that kind of stuff because I'm like, man, it's love. This is love. It's
Yeah.
about us all getting better. And if I've got to say
And it's
something to
about
you,
the expectation. Like we
yeah,
expect better. We expect that's
yes,
not good enough.
yes.
And they've set the bar tremendously high. Tell me about what's happening at the slot or that nickel corner position. Mike Hilton was so good for
Oh,
us for so long in that role, and trying to replace him has not been easy.
right. You don't replace Mike Hilton. You just put the next man in. I think Mike Hilton was unique in
Yeah,
so
he
many
was good.
ways. But again, I still praise Jalen Davis for what I saw and what I'm seeing in camp. I mean, he and Jamar Chase got into it first
Mm.
day of training camp. And I mean, here's a guy saying you might be number one and you might have a lot more zeros on your bank account, but not today. And he went at it, and I like that because you in that slot, you're gonna have to man up and stand up. And I just been impressed with him in camp, man. He's had some breakups, some picks. He's been flying around. I just think his confidence has grown like DJ Turner. These guys
Yeah.
have gotten enough snaps and made enough plays to convince themselves, not the coaches.
Yeah.
They've made enough plays to convince themselves that they can play at the level required to be successful in the NFL.
Yeah, look, I love that kind of competition at practice. Wide receivers who are so good, they're used to, maybe some guys taking a back seat, letting them catch one here or there. But no, you got to make them earn everything you get.
Right.
Iron sharpens iron.
Yes.
And I think those receivers, the guys you've named, and clearly Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, can make the secondary defenders better. But vice versa, they can continue to make the receivers better, but it has to be full. I don't like it when a coach say, let them catch the ball.
Right.
It ain't happening on my watch. Like you want to catch the ball with impunity, they go over there and work on air. How about that? But over here, we're gonna make you earn it. As simple as that.
Yeah,
I don't care how many stars you have on your chest, right? It's you can be a 5-star general. I don't care.
That's the attitude of this defense, man. They
Yeah.
don't want any balls caught. And then the other thing that they're doing is, again, I get back to those little intangibles, the little things they do. Even if a guy catches the ball, punch. I mean, they're trying to punch the ball even after a guy catches it, or just try to slap it out of his hand. Like, we realize that the play is not over until that whistle blows. And so every now and then they may get a punch or whatever. But conversely, the offensive guys know that these guys are trying to get the ball out of their hands. So I've noticed the couple of days into camp, these guys, receivers, are getting the ball and they're cradling that ball when they come down with it or clutching it, because these defenders are practicing punching that ball out. It's a drill they do every day. And it's just amazing, man. But I think that this defensive secondary as a unit is really pushing as a unit to be better as one, and also challenging, the alpha males of Higgins and Chase on the other side to say, we will not back down for you. If you beat us, you just beat us. But rest assured, we're going to try to beat you. And on the plays they do beat Chase or Higgins, they let everybody know we just made the big play on you. And it just stirs the pot, man. I get excited because I love competition.
Well, just about 1 week, the Cincinnati Bengals are going to take to the field for their first preseason game. They're going to take on the Detroit Lions at Paycor Stadium.
Yes.
Next week, we'll be here to give you a preview of that game. We want to thank Wayne Box Miller, the host of Cincinnati Bengals Radio Network, for joining us here on the Believe in Bengal podcast presented by FanDuel. We look forward to you joining us again next week, everyone. Thank you.